CAC meeting, and I'm John Bly. I'm chairman, and I represent the Engineering Contractors Association. So we'll go around and do self-introductions here.
Riggs Laka, Sonoma County wine grape growers.
Dennis Harder, representing Sonoma County Alliance.
Musa Bessi, representing the Santa Rosa Chamber.
Jerry Glazer, North Bay chapter of the Electric Auto Association.
Keep it at the table, and then we'll go back to them.
I was going to let Tom go.
Sorry, Tom, did I already miss you? Geez, Louise, that's terrible.
Sorry, Tom.
Mark Hale, BIA.
I'm Rick Luppin, representing the League of Women Voters, at least for now. I wanted the committee to know that this will be my last meeting for a while. Kelly McNerney, who's zooming in here, is going to take over representing the League of Women Voters while I'm away. Maybe next year I'll be back, depends on how things go then.
Safe travels.
Eris Weaver, Sonoma County Bicycle Coalition.
Tim Zonner, District 1.
Soil in District 2.
Tom Conlon, Sonoma County Conservation Coalition.
We'll go back to the high price seats back there.
SCTCA.
Elizabeth Tyree, Sonoma County Regional Park.
Okay.
Don Fish, SCTCA.
And I think we had Rick's replacement on the virtual, but she may have stepped aside for a moment, huh?
No, it says that you can't, somehow the host has disabled my video.
Well, we'll see if we can fix that. We
Okay.
definitely want to meet you virtually at least.
Okay.
Here you come.
Hi,
Here you are. What was your name again? I'm sorry.
Kelly McNerney. I had
Hey.
attended one meeting back in, I don't know, the spring as a
May.
May. Okay,
Well, welcome back. Thank you.
thanks.
All right. And can I make a recommendation? And that is, for those of us that are age challenged, can you go up one font level next time? Thank you. That's the motion that passed, accepted, universal. Thank you. Anyway.
iPad, you can do this.
It doesn't work to do this anymore, Jerry. All right. So thank you. Do we have any public comment on items not on their regular agenda? We are 1 minute ahead of schedule.
Just make a quick
there
public
we go.
comment. So I just caught the bus up here from Sonoma Valley, and I noticed as I was walking to the bus stop that the bollards along across the Donald Gap, the Agua Caliente Bridge were out. And if this is a public comment on behalf of my granddaughter, who's 3, who we walked through that stretch regularly, and she noticed that they were broken. And so I reported that to public infrastructure as I got on the bus. I got a call back from public infrastructure before I got to this meeting. And they said, guess what? That's not our responsibility. That's Caltrans. But she will be following up with me with the phone number of how I, as a member of the public, can report that to Caltrans. Just processually, it struck me as an extra step and an extra burden on the public, and one that I thought might be relevant to this group. And then the second thing I've heard about in the media, I had another member of the public mention this to me, there are some bus stop benches being placed around the Bay Area. And I was hoping that maybe this body could encourage that practice in Sonoma County. I think there's a way to officially allow this, what is otherwise an unofficial volunteer process. I think the group is called the Bay Area Bus.
I know the folks who are doing that, Tom, and they just did an install in Petaluma this past weekend.
Really?
Benches down there, so we can talk.
Okay, well, I'd encourage the regularization of this behavior as opposed to sort of having it not happen, have the benches, all the effort go in and have to have it pulled out because of some procedural problem. So just bring it to this body. Thank you for your consideration.
And I wonder if that's an issue for the infrastructure, for the Tennis Wicks replacement, who I understand is going to be Scott Orr, at least on a temporary basis, to bring it to his attention, because They should cover that. They shouldn't make the public make the second call. If you report it to them, it seems like that ought to be part of what our taxpayer money is going for.
It
They,
seems like
they
it's
call
just about
Caltrans.
as much work for her to call me back with the number as for
Thank
her to make the report. That seemed to be my perception of it, but that may not be true.
There you go again, applying common sense to a problem.
But that is public infrastructure. That's not permit Sonoma, two different departments.
You're right.
So,
It's Johannes's group, right?
yeah.
Yeah, Caltrans does have a website, a place for putting the complaints, but it's crappy.
I use
mean, it's
SoCo
clunky.
Report It
It's really
app
hard to use.
on my phone, which is how I generally report unsafe
Yeah.
things to the county. And I was very pleased to get quick response.
Thank you for those. Seeing nobody else with their hand raised, we'll go on to administrative items. Ross?
So, one moment, apologies for the omission, but we do not have the May notes as an item on the agenda. However, we do have a forum today. So someone can make a motion to approve those. I do have two corrections. One from Mr. Harder, one from Mr. Conlon related to attendance. I don't know if there's any other corrections related to, this is the May note,
Oh, okay.
but we can approve those. That was also there. Okay, so we have some attendance updates that we'll do. But we can approve those.
Just out of curiosity, do we need to approve minutes if we didn't have a quorum, so it was just a.
You're correct. So this would be not for June, but for May. So my impression was there was not a quorum for June. And so that's a committee of the whole. So those notes are presented in the agenda just as an informational item.
I'm not sure that we had it for May either, but we went 2 meetings without a.
I thought we went 2 meetings as well.
Yeah.
We didn't approve May and we didn't approve April. I believe.
I'll have to check on that.
It might be the April.
Yeah.
That we need to We approve. need to approve April still, but yeah.
I'll try a motion. I'll try a motion and see if this works. I move we approve the April and May minutes with the corrections that you've noted. Dies for a lack of second. Yes.
Well, not to be too picky here, but as a public agency, we have to publish this agenda in advance, and we can't add things to it.
Well, in that case, I'll double check which minutes are outstanding. We'll add it to the next agenda.
Thanks, Ross.
And hope we have a quorum next meeting.
But can we, put a motion to add something to the agenda and then vote about, on these minutes? We can't.
We don't have the right to do that. Right.
24 hours for us to meet, yeah, 72
Oh, okay. It is not urgent. We'll leave it for.
So
that.
basically, yeah, we'll get the agenda out in advance, a week in advance of the thing. So that's all I have.
Okay, are we gonna try to approve the May minutes even though we don't have them attached with the corrections in attendance notice?
Question is whether we actually had a quorum.
Whether we have a quorum here?
No.
We
I don't
didn't
think we
have
had
one
a
there.
quorum and they either Russ check all of that.
There
stuff.
were no
Find out
minutes.
Which ones we need.
So if we didn't have a quorum in May, we didn't have any,
So it'd be a committee of the whole. So anything.
so it's just informational. There's no minutes really to speak
Yeah.
of. Gotcha, okay.
I apologize for the messiness, but anything else.
All right.
We will add to.
Pretty hard for me to remember what I had for breakfast this morning, going back in May is. Thank you, guys.
Understood. Thank you.
All right. And we're on to our presentation, our measure items. Hello. Come on up. Usually we have Shauna introduce you, so I'll have you introduce yourself. Okay.
I can lift this up so I can turn around and see the screen. Maybe. I'll lift up the whole thing. I'm Elizabeth Tyree from Sonoma County Regional Parks. It's my pleasure to be here today, sharing with you our progress on our Measure M funded projects and Go Sonoma funded projects. Thank you all for your volunteering for this committee. It's always my pleasure once a year to come to this group and talk about the progress that we've made, the questions we still have on projects, and projects that we're connecting more often with other agencies, especially working more closely with public infrastructure on many more of our projects right now. And so with that, not quite sure how I'll do this. Could I ask you to forward? I don't think I'm that skilled to spin and change slides. So our first project today is the Bodega Bay Trail, and there are actually two projects in Bodega Bay. And because I'm also, as my eyes age, I'm more visually challenged too. So I have some printouts of the maps that I'll be sharing with the group, and you can pass them around. I only did 6. I wasn't sure how many the group would need. And so these first two are the first 2 projects in Bodega Bay. And the first one on the list is the coastal North Harbor section of the Bodega Bay Trail. To give you an overview on this map and what you'll see on these handouts, one has the coastal North Harbor highlighted. And so that's the first one I'm reviewing, and the second one has the Smith Brothers Road highlighted. So every other one of you needs to pass them down here. Yeah, so they're
One, those are. These
Well,
were
they're
different
two-
handouts, right?
I'm gonna run some copies.
Okay.
yeah, there's two. There's two. They're very similar. They're
There you go. You need that.
yeah. So it's just oh, thank you so much.
Oh, you got nothing.
Sorry, I didn't bring more.
I'm sharing with him on the brothers.
Okay.
This meeting is starting out very organized.
Lesson learned, bring more copies of the printouts. So the first one I'm going to talk about is the coastal North Harbor section of Bodega Bay Trail. Those of you familiar with Bodega Bay, you understand we've been building sections of the California Coastal Trail in sections. We've started out at the outside edges, and we're moving toward the middle, toward the bay front. And so we first did the connection to Doran Beach, the Cheney Creek Bridge over Cheney Gulch. And then we move forward to Coastal Prairie Trail at the north end that connects you all the way up to Keefe Avenue. And then down to the community center site. And this Coastal North Harbor will take you the next step down the hill to the actual bay from the bell tower site, the community center site. And so it winds through state parkland, and it brings you out right at our sport fishing center at the bottom of the hill. So you have access to the water at the bottom of this planned trail. And so this stretch of trail, this is a 0.6 mile of class 1 trail. And as many of you are aware, this is an alternative to Highway 1. And anybody that's ridden or walked or driven out there knows it's really narrow on Highway 1, and you really want to be off the road for walking and riding and rolling. The complexity of this project is it's built on old sand dunes. And so we have to drive piles in, and we also are crossing wetlands here. And so it's taken some extensive environmental review and design work, but we're really happy that we're going to be putting this out to bid. Go ahead and go to the next slide. So we're going to be putting this out to bid for construction.
If it helps you, that pops out of there so you don't have to hold the whole thing.
Yeah, I've been trying to.
Get it out.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
It's just the same
just-
map with a different.
I need to work on mine.
That's
It's just the same. That's the-
Oh, okay.
Well, that's a tight
Where's
squeeze.
the other one? that
Thanks, Tom.
We don't have.
Thank you.
They're just pointing to different places. Okay.
We got too
And
many.
so the, here's the overview of the project. And we will be, we're planning to bid the construction project, later this year. And if you could go to the next slide. This is the overview, the yellow line through the middle of this. It's an overview of how you wind down the hill from the existing community center site down to East Shore Road. So it just kind of winds its way to meet ADA requirements down the hill, and also boardwalks. This doesn't depict where the boardwalks are, but they're over the wetland crossing areas. So next slide, please. This shows an overview of the timeline for the different portions of the projects. We've been working on Bodega Bay projects for quite some time, doing a lot of community outreach in Bodega, working with the local partners out there, working closely with state parks, with Public Works, with Caltrans, as we were developing the whole plan, the scoping for the trail corridor. And so you see a long time span for this project from when we started scoping to actual construction planned for starting this fall. Next slide, please.
Why
And-
there was a big gap between the scoping and the environmental phase, 15 years almost.
Exactly, because we were working on other sections of the trail at that time. And so we've gone sequentially, building from both ends. And so it's step by step as we get closer to really the most complex portion of the trail will ultimately be the waterfront trail in the town of Bodega. But good point, yeah, many years,
So scoping included the entire extent for scoping.
exactly. So, and this gives you an overview of the entire project too no, I'm sorry. Never mind. This gives you the scoping or the cost of the coastal North Harbor, the estimated cost for this section of trail we'll be building next. And hopefully bids will come in at estimate, not high, because we've been experiencing that as well. And we can move forward with this project.
Can I ask a quick question about, you mentioned boardwalks. Are they going to be wide enough that people can pass each other? I just got back from a vacation, right, cycling across the coast of Portugal, and there were miles of boardwalks,
Mhm.
very wide, that people were walking and riding on. So I'm trying to know if that's what I'm visualizing from that is what this is going to look like. Or when you say boardwalk, you're meaning little skinny one person ones.
That's a really good question. It'll be similar to the boardwalks we constructed at Coastal Prairie. You know, we have a few of those stream crossings kind of on the ridge line there as you're going north. So they aren't going to be wide enough to really get a vehicle on or a maintenance vehicle on unless it's a really small one, but certainly wide enough to pass
Okay.
in that corridor.
I assume that's in thousands of dollars. The slide.
Yes, boardwalks are certainly one of the more expensive elements, not as much as a bridge.
Scale is.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, in thousands of dollars. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, funny story. Because regional parks projects aren't usually as large as the traditional public works projects.
Yeah.
We were always sticking in, all the zeros of thousands, and Shauna kept reminding us, no, you need to list it in thousands. And yes, so that's over 1 million.
And you don't have to rationalize it because we have sidewalks that come in and cost a lot more than this.
Got it. All right. So Smith Brothers Road, moving down to the south end of the bay. And this stretch of trail will connect the existing trail at Birdwalk Coastal Access, if you're familiar with that. That's where you get to the Cheney Creek Bridge and you can cross to go to Doran. Insider tip, that's where you can park if the parking lot's really full at Doran. And it's an easier in and out, so you aren't going all the way down Doran Beach Road. So this connects a little bit of the shoulder on Highway 1, and then you scoot into Smith Brothers Road, and it's the whole stretch of Smith Brothers Road. So that's where the post office is. That's where the hot dog stand is. I always go to out there, and a few other businesses. So it'll make a great connection for them. This stretch of trail also has on the water side some properties that were Coastal Conservancy properties that were deeded to them long ago. And so these are being transferred from the state to the county. And it'll be an opportunity to create some lookout areas and a little bit wider area of trail so you can pause, watch the view, maybe some interpretive signs so you can learn about what you're seeing there, all the birds, all the what you're seeing in the rising and declining tides over time, all the mud flats that are there. So it's one of those at eye level portions of Bodega Bay that's, and then at road level, it's a really sweet spot out there. And one of the interesting things about this is working with public infrastructure, because you have a more limited right of way, we're looking at making it a one-way road. Connection there. And so working with the community there through environmental review and design to see if that's supported by the community, it will help traffic flow in there. And so we can both provide this trail and these overlook areas in this corridor for the movement of people and cars and vehicles in here. And next slide. Oh, sorry, I've been missing the slide. So there's the overview, 0.65 miles of Class 1 trail. And again, part of the California Coastal Trail. And next slide, please. And here's an overview of the area of Smith Brothers Road, the aerial. And so it's just that whole corridor of road, and then it connects you up to the former Lucas Wharf site on the other side.
Is that whole yellow part the Smith?
Exactly. Any other questions on that? The next slide. So here's the overview of timeline on this. We're moving into environmental and moving through environmental and design for this corridor. And so looking at construction in a few years out, starting in 2029. So, and I've lost my, so the, and there's the overview of the project costs for Smith Brothers Road. Oh, right. Thank you. And just sharing the other graphics that I'm going to hand out. Here's Sonoma Shelville. Thank you. Red County Trail. I gave you Central Sonoma Valley Trail, right?
What's that?
Yes. All right.
Elizabeth,
Yeah.
when on this project and on the previous one, when your column says local funds,
Mhm.
are those regional park bond funds or are those other sources?
So it's a combination of Parks for All, Measure M. We didn't choose the letter.
I understand.
Yeah.
That's my way of saying it.
Right. Right. And also park mitigation is another source of funds. For the Smith Brothers Road, there is also some cell tower funding, restricted funding that goes into the project.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So then, then that's the overview. So next slide. And so more copies are coming, and this one definitely you'll want to. This is probably the most complex map, the Central Sonoma Valley Trail. Another one that has a very long timeline from scoping when we worked. Sorry. There's more on the way. So yes, again, working closely with the community, making a safe corridor for people. At the time, Highway 12 did not have the sidewalks when we started this project. And so people were walking on the shoulders of the road and to work, to school. And so supported by Measure M, getting people off of Highway 12, the 3-mile corridor, all the way from Agua Caliente down to Verano Avenue. And so you see with the graphic, and more graphics coming, so both the solid red line and the green line were completed by regional parks and also developers in the area going through Flowery Elementary School and Sonoma Charter School, along with the construction of the Fetters Apartments by Mid-Penn. And so we're happy to having this plan in place so we could work with developers. Part of their interest in it was meeting our park mitigation fee requirement. They were able to meet the requirement with the value of what they were providing for community benefit with the project. And as I mentioned earlier, this is a longer timeline project, building multiple sections over time. The last thing on the list for regional parks is to create wayfinding signs and update this map you see in front of you with updated information. There are going to be, you see some gaps when you finally get the map. You'll see some gaps at the south end. There's a lot of areas for acquisition at the south end of the site. Or they're going to be class 3 trails or class 2 trails that public infrastructure will be leading through the design and development process. So next slide, please. So here's the overview and really the steps for what we as regional parks are completing and work that public infrastructure is working on now, including the Donald Street Gap. And the work that was done there. So this is, I think you only got a couple done, guys. So here's more maps.
We get copies of the deck.
Yeah, the slide deck. Oh, yes, certainly. Yes. And next slide, please. And here's a sense of again, the timeline. So starting in 2007 and working through this time, you'll see in the middle, it's bumped up to 2026. That's really addressing the wayfinding signs we want to install in this area because it's a little bit hard to find your way through if you're not familiar with this area around Sonoma. And so that is on our list to do. Next slide, please.
I have a question.
Mhm.
That slide.
The last one?
The construction date, is it before the design, like these days? Why is that?
That is the last construction of trail work that regional parks did. So that's what it's reflecting. I did not change that date on this slide. I just changed the design row there to be 426 because that will be the design for the new wayfinding signs and the map. So I'll update it once we do construction or have a window for construction.
So just to clarify, so what you're saying is that regional parks will be done with its ownership of these segments once that wayfinding project is completed, and the rest of the work will be completed by public infrastructure?
Correct.
Okay, thanks for that clarification.
And that includes the Donald Street Gap. And one of the things that you'll note on the handout of the map, it's highlighted, it's circled in the corner of an area that needs attention. You ready to go to the next?
Let's see, it's circle. Oh, holy crap. Find Waldo.
Oh, I didn't do the overview so here's the funds and it has, we still don't know for the acquisition that needs to occur. We don't have estimates for that yet. So you'll see it's listed as to be determined in the cost estimate. So I'm guessing the next handout is coming. I have again, apologize. Sonoma Shellville Trail. Moving on to another really complex map that's really hard to read from far away. Oh, these are all of them. Good. Terrific.
And
thank you.
Elizabeth, before we move on, could I ask another question about the segment across the street from Maxwell Park, which was completed several years ago in asphalt? And I noticed now that with the hotel construction going on, that they've completely torn that up and replaced it with cement for a good chunk of it. There's a new bus stop going in there. I guess that project was not anticipated when Regional Parks did the original version of the trail. It occurs to me that we could learn some lessons perhaps from all the money that went into that publicly funded bike path, class 1 bike path, only to have it ripped out a couple of years later and replaced by privately funded developer funds to replace the path that had previously existed. It's an interesting, this is how it happens. We also had a similar thing happen, I think, along the route under the freeway at Petaluma on Lakeville Highway, where the bike lane was completed and then construction work happened on the freeway, I believe, and that bike lane was needed for construction, and then it was closed for a bunch of time, and then it was replaced by that construction. So not always it'd be nice if we could get planning in front of construction, but I know it's difficult with all the moving pieces.
I totally agree. And I think the same with Petaluma, what happened there. There's, for certain grant funds, you have expiration dates on when you have to use the funding by. I recall from one of the TAC meetings here, the city of Petaluma, they had to get the project built. And the sad thing, it was like right before, and I think you might have written it when it was open. It was like right before they had to shut it down to start construction. So with the Central Sonoma Valley Trail, we were working with the different landowners and different proposals at the time, what their plans were. You may recall there were different things, a number of different things that were proposed for the property over time. But again, we reached a point where, well, we have to use this money by a certain time frame. And yes, it saddens me too when we can't align things more closely to construction. So you end up tearing, you waste materials, and you have to rebuild. And we certainly will be watching how this developer restores the site to ensure that it's the trail that it should be for the community.
Yeah, I did notice that just this past week, it's open again and people are using the new concrete sidewalk or bike path through there.
Mhm. Well, that's good, at least that it's open again. So thank you for the update on that. Okay, Sonoma Shellville Trail. This is one, I think it might have been the last time I was with this group, the really exciting news that we finally reached a sale agreement, purchase agreement with Union Pacific. It's one of those projects that I've been working on since being at Regional Parks 20 years ago, but it started way back in 1987 when the rail line at the time, Northwest Pacific, abandoned the line. So this is like the Longview project that we've been working on for a long, long time. And the goal of this is to connect the wonderful trail built by Sonoma City that's across their community and ending at 7th. And so this would take everybody on that trail down, all the way down to, you curve around on the curve from the old rail line and down 8th Street East to where at Shellville and the current smart location there. So the acquisition from Union Pacific is for the 8th Street East stretch of abandoned railroad right-of-way. Those are the ones in red that we acquired from them. And because this has been such a long-term project, there's been various ways of securing the land for different stretches of the trail over the years. So you'll see some of the orange. We even have a trailhead that was built right where Napa Street turns at 8th Street East. Again, another development condition. The property owner subdivided the lot. And so as a condition of that, they built that trailhead. So with this next project, and we're going to be applying for the next round of funding, the SCTA funding for this project. looking for construction funds to install this. We have funding right now for the design and environmental review. And so we're really hopeful to take a big step forward with this project to construct.
Yeah, Elizabeth, I'm rather puzzled about this right of way here. How did parts of it, little pieces of it, get into private hands?
Yeah.
You can't run a railroad, a little piece here, a little piece there, and so on. What was Union Pacific thinking of?
Exactly. They sold portions of it over time, and that that employed the council for quite a long time, resolving what the requirements were and the conditions. It also created the appraisal value for what property would be sold at in the future. So yes, there were a number of different things that happened that gave you this scattered section that wasn't the full railway anymore. And different ones have different, like driveway easements on them, because some of the businesses have access off of 8th Street East with different conditions that we'll have to work through each of those driveway crossings.
Well, Union Pacific couldn't think this is very valuable because you can't run a railroad in little pieces like that.
That would be a design challenge. Yes.
They should give it away.
That would be,
Have you talked to them about that?
yeah, I don't think that went very far
I see.
with them. One of the other interesting pieces that's paused us a bit from moving forward with the completing the acquisition. There's still some rail cars on the line. And I tell you what, there's multiple owners for multiple rail cars that you have to have a place for them to go. And it has to be in order of what the rail cars are in position on the track. You can't move the one on the very end before you move the ones at the beginning. So I didn't know. It's a much more complex issue to move it forward. And Union Pacific is responsible for that before we'll take the acquisition, because we need to do the site assessment.
That's where I was a little confused because we had a presentation from Smart, but part of this area is where they lease storage space for freight. Is that why some of the cars are there?
They have storage space right down at the intersection of the Highway 12 and 121. So there's a bit of a yard there. And so and actually, if you move forward a slide, this points out this whole trail is a 4-mile trail, and we will be needing to make agreement with Smart because they own the last portion of the property. And also working with SCTCA and Caltrans and public infrastructure on the interests of the intersection and the proposed roundabout at the highway or signal. So we're all working together on how this trail will connect and cross that corridor. And then our ultimate goal from the park side is make sure this is the trail that connects to the Bay Trail. So this is the city connection for the Bay Trail as it loops around the bay.
Elizabeth, are you telling me that this railroad is still intact and still can be used for?
No, there's a lot of sections of it gone. It was abandoned officially in 87. So there are no interests in using the railway. It would need an awful lot of work. I think after you go around the corner, much of it is gone. And there's certainly the section that the city has their path on, that's been removed. That's all asphalt trail now.
Well, what were you saying then about getting rail cars off of that?
There are still there are rail cars, yes, that will need to bring over the bridge of Shell Creek into probably Smart property on the other side of 12 and 121.
So the rail track, the track is actually intact enough to run a car over it once it.
Yes, to move them on. And they had to do some upgrades to the bridge that crosses Shell Creek to support the engines. I think it's 4 engines and the rest are cars crossing.
I see. Okay.
So next slide.
Quick question. Throughout this on the Sonoma trails, you're mentioning a class 1 trail? Just for my, is that similar to the bike path classifications? What's a class 1 trail versus a class 2 trail?
Oh, sure. Yeah, a class 1 trail is the trail that's separated from the road,
Okay.
usually about 10 feet wide.
So it's the same as a bike.
It's a bike path.
Okay.
It's yeah, it's a Joe Ritter Trail,
Thank you.
Santa Rosa Creek Trail.
Gotcha.
And just another overview point, the way the county's structured, regional parks is responsible generally for constructing the class 1 trails, and public infrastructure is responsible for all of those that are on roads. So the class 2, which are a shoulder, class 3 is the shared road. It's
Okay.
a low traffic volume. Class 4 are the ones that have the like the barrier between the trail but it's right next to the road.
Follows the roadway, but I always have to look this up too. I just looked it up. And it's always confusing. The 1 and 4 are the ones that I'll go on, and 2 and 3 are the ones I won't go on.
Yeah.
Bookends, okay.
Which is a good segue to my question. On the map, the blue route and the purple alternates around the end of before the turn that was acquired from Sonoma's Best. Can you talk a little bit about any implications of the alternate approaches on the class 1 versus class 3, 2 or 3 in that area? Because my understanding is that it's been in the general plan for the city, I believe, for some time. Maybe this is outside the city limits, so it's county general plan. To have that primary acquisition through that property as a potential for class 1, like the rest of the route. However, the property owner, I think, came to a meeting in the city and said they were advocating for that route to be pushed over up onto Lovell Valley Road, which might then result in that being not a class 1. So I was hoping you could talk about whether there's any planning discussions about how to resolve and get the best, most serviceable route out of that segment.
Certainly, and thank you for the question. So yes, that map does show some options right now for that stretch. We do have a willing property owner on the curve around behind Sonoma's Best that will help us use that existing curve area for a class 1 trail. But when you pop out onto the road, we're working with public infrastructure on that to ensure that it's going to be a continuous trail. It might be stretches of it that might have the barrier and not the class 2 where it's on both sides or the shared road, but
Yeah.
to ensure the trail connection and an easy connection for all users and all levels of ability.
I think Tim will back me up on this. We do definitely want that to be not the least safe segment of the whole stretch, because there are so many users who will really respond to having a very safe route all the way down to Shelbyville. So thank you.
And certainly the times that I've been out there, I don't live in Sonoma, but seeing users out there, they're popping off that trail all the time. There's all sorts of tours that come through there. So big groups of people that come down, then also cross the highway and head south on Ramal. And it's really a heavily used stretch. So we want to ensure that it makes for a continuous trail for.
Great. So we'll continue to advocate for that being class 4 at a minimum. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. All right, so yes, this is again the overview of the timeline for this. And next slide. So these costs will change. I'm laughing because we're working toward this grant application for doing construction for this, and just got the construction estimate in from the consultant helping us provide background information for the application. And the construction cost was a bit higher than what we're focused on here. So more to come. So these, as we all know, estimates change over time as we know information. But this is a general guide for what we know right now and what it's going to cost. We do have funding for acquisition. We also have funding for the environmental review and engineering. So our next ask will be of grant funding will be for construction. Any questions on Sonoma Shelville? Okay. So next slide. Great. So this is Maribel Road. This is our first project funded with Measure DD funds. That's right, isn't it? And this project is in again in partnership with Public Infrastructure. And I will hand out these maps. This graphic's a little simpler. And so Public Infrastructure is doing major roadway work on Maribel Road. And their project will include bike lanes, the whole distance. So you have your shoulders, your class 2 bike lanes that also provide an opportunity for cars to pull off the road. And we have the responsibility for what's called phase 3. So it's a class 1 trail that takes you from essentially from Forestville from 116, and it takes you to the youth park there. We aren't able to take it further at this time because of limitations in the grade of the road. We would need substantial walls to hold, and it's not the road itself, but the sides of the road. So it would need significant walls to continue all the way down to River Road. But it's on the long-term plan to continue the class 1 trail all the way down to River Road, because it's a little bit masked by where it says county right there. This is where you connect to Steelhead Beach. And so we want to get people down to River Road and then over to Steelhead Beach. So really making the connection for the community to one of our really well-loved regional parks there. Another thing I want to point out while we have the map up is this is also part of other projects that we're working with Public Infrastructure on, a proposal for how we get to connect with River Road, with Maribel Road. So looking at the possibility of how we're going to stop or move traffic there, maybe a roundabout there as well. But we'll ensure that the trail is part of that. And we also have Regional Parks has planned the River Road, the Lower Russian River Trail that we completed a feasibility study. So when you get down to Maribel Road, then you head out toward the coast from Maribel Road with the long-term plans for the Lower Russian River Trail. So next slide, please. And here's the overview. This is the 0.6 mile gap of what you saw for our class 1 trail. And it describes what Public Infrastructure is doing for the bike lanes.
How does this connect with the other trail that's right there?
So this connects, so Public Infrastructure is doing the connection where that trail ends to Maribel Road, and then it gets it down Maribel Road. And so it will all, yeah, the trail that was completed was that 2 years ago now? Yeah. Or 3? Yeah, so we're getting West County Trail closer and closer to the parks on the river. The next slide. So here's the overview. This is a shorter term project because the funding is in place for both the public works or public infrastructure and for regional parks. So looking at constructing next year, we're really excited about that. And I think that might be the last one for West County Trail, if there's any questions. And so next slide. I'm sorry. Oh, and that is the end. So yeah, I threw Ken Tan's name up here because he's the project manager for these projects. So that's how you get a hold of Ken. I'm the grants program manager, so Ken and I work closely together. And we're happy to answer any other questions that might come up for you.
On the West County Trail where it goes from 116 and drops down to Atascadero Creek. I got a letter in the mail that said I needed to move a gate. Is there gonna be any more further conversation on how that drainage is gonna be fixed? They're right next to the road, just trying to get a better understanding because due to fish friendly farming and the things that apply to us as wine growers and what we're trying to obtain, I can't slow down water that's coming from 2 miles away.
Right, right.
So I know that there's a lot of different things going on, but is there going to be more communication other than just receiving a letter saying I need to move a gate?
Let's make sure that we get you in contact with Ken because he is the project manager for that. And I will give Ken heads up that you're interested in more information. And as you know, we're also working on the trail gaps for West County Trail. Pardon me, at Occidental and Green Valley Road. So yes, let's make sure we connect with you.
I'll touch base.
So
with
yeah,
you.
please,
Not a problem.
please knock on our door and remind
good.
us. Thank
Yep.
you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Thank you. A lot of information. Great job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are you administering the test or is she?
Oh, yeah, there will be a test. Did everybody find all 3 of the circles on the map? Okay, thank you. I did with our. All right, we have to, I'm a stickler for sticking with the schedule, so we can't do anything until 5:20 now. Just joke time. James, best joke?
No.
All right, let's go, just roll. Any announcements?
I have a few.
This could be the quickest meeting we've ever had. Yes, you're gonna
Have
screw
a
this
few.
up, Eris. I know you are. No, go
I
ahead.
can do them fast. I want to let you know about some events that we
Good.
have coming
Good.
up. In August, we have 2 different bike movie nights happening. On August 7th in our office, just a few blocks away from here, we're showing Lael Rides Around the World. It's a documentary about woman Lael Wilcox, who last year broke the record for a single person unsupported cycling around the world. So we'll be showing that. And then on August 24th, we're partnering with another filmmaker on a film called 30 Bikes. That one's actually going to be shown downtown in the courthouse square outside. Both of these things are free. And then this third event is not free because it's a fundraiser. September 12th, we're having our 3rd annual Golden Spoke Awards and Gala. So we give awards to folks out in the county who are, making things better for cyclists. And it's a fun event. And you can find all of these things on the event calendar on our website.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Keep up the good work. Rick? Sorry, Donna.
Maybe some of you know about this, but well, you're all aware that this smart tax has to be extended or smart stops existing. But there is a citizens initiative now to qualify the tax extension on the ballot. And if it is put on the ballot that way, it requires only a 50% vote. So there's a citizens group that's leading the charge here. It's run by Dennis Rosati, who was formerly the president of Sonoma County Conservation Action. I would just urge you, if you have a chance, to sign the petition. They need to gather, what is it, I think 50 or 60,000 signatures in the 2 counties to qualify for the ballot. But they're going to be engaging in a major effort this fall to raise that number of signatures.
Thank you.
And I'll make
Our little group contributed to the cause, ECA.
I'll just make a brief announcement that MTC is about to release, planning to release in the fall, their environmental impact report process for the planned Bay Area 50+ regional transportation plan. And there's an opportunity for public comment on that plan. Just kind of keep your eyes open for it. And
Thank you.
It should be published already, I think.
I think the plan is published and it's out. There's an analysis that's out and I downloaded it today, the compendium they call it. But the EIR, which is more formal document, has yet to be released.
The curious part is it takes the state about 4 years to qualify the EIR after it's been submitted by the MTC, which is about the time that you need to have the next plan.
Well, a lot of these plans at this point are entering into a zone of fantasy, I think. Aspirational plans based on aspirational goals in state policy, as well as but practical real world considerations, like how do you pay for roadways that get washed out and things like that.
Thank you. Don, did you have something to say? Oh, okay. Yeah, we can do
Well, I
that.
can't see our signs either. We could all make our signs face like that. So
Quick question. We've lost Jeff Blakesley, who's been on this committee for a number of years. He just had to leave for conflict issues and so forth. But are we going to be reaching out to fill that seat by somebody else?
Yes.
Because we've been having trouble getting a quorum, and Jeff was one that showed up most of the time. Yeah.
We have a couple.
Okay.
We'd like, very close to having them. Excuse me, permanent transit, paratransit representatives. We have, remember that sometimes online, but we need someone in the world with that. So we're very close to having someone. So yeah, we're doing some outreach.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. I didn't announce my name. Sorry, Don. I've already screwed it up. All right. Any other announcements? Holy moly.
wow.
Well, so one thing, Derek, the reason there is not a financial report is just the timing of it. There will be financial report just with the end of the fiscal year. There will be financial details.
Well, selfishly, this works out perfectly for me. I'm driving up to Lake Almanor tonight, so I'll make it by 10 instead of 11. So thank you. Meeting adjourned.
All right.
That's world record time. Most, even you couldn't